Hey guys, so I want to ask you a very important question that you probably never asked yourself before, or no one has never asked you before. The question that I want to ask you is, can God trust you? Can God trust you? We hear a lot of people say, or we even say, I trust God. Yeah, man, I trust God. Of course I trust God. Oh, he brought me through this, he brought me through that. I got to trust him. I trust God. And while that is good that we trust God and it's required for us to trust God, there's also a second part of that. Can God trust you? We are called to have a relationship. So let's put it in the standpoint of a relationship, because that's what we're actually called to do. We're called to have a relationship with God, and not just any relationship, but we're called to have an intimate relationship with God. And when you think about any relationship with a partner, relationship with friends, relationship with family, we always say, "Oh, trust goes both ways. Trust goes both ways." I remember in high school, in high school, growing up and like having different relationships, and we just like trying to find out if the person trusts me, because if you don't trust me, then the relationship is not going to work. And not even in high school, but throughout our life, as a teenager, as a young adult, as a grown up, we look for people to trust. As we give trust, we to look for people to also trust us. We also often say that trust goes both ways. We often also say that no relationship can run on like an empty trust. So like trust has to come from both ends. So you have to trust the person, and the other person has to trust you. It's the same thing with a relationship with God. It's a God doesn't just call us to have a relationship with him, but he calls us to have an intimate relationship with him. And if we say that our earthly intimate relationship has to have trust on both ends, then so is the same for our supernatural intimate relationship with God. A lot of times we trust God, but then God is not able to trust us. And then you may ask the question, so like, what did I do for God not to trust me? I figured if I trust him, he would just automatically trust me. But it's not that simple. In a relationship with a partner or a friend, that person has to earn your trust. Love is given freely. We're supposed to love everyone. Love is given freely, but trust has to be earned. And we just don't give people our trust that easily. And it's the same for God. And when we do trust God, it's because of how he shows up for us, the things that he promised us, because we know who he is. We know his character. Those are the things that make us trust God. The things that he does for us, how he shows up for us, his character. He's a man of his word. He keeps his promises. He's always showing up for you. He's healing that family member. So that's how God earns our trust, because of who he is. It's the same for us. We have to exemplify a certain behavior. We have to exemplify a certain character that allows God to trust us. And some of the things that allow God to trust us is obedience. Obedience is one of them. When we're obedient to God, he will trust us. When he can say something and he expect that we're going to follow it, or he expect that we're following his commandment, or he sees that we are following the last instruction that he gives us, he trusts us. Another way we can create an atmosphere for God to trust us is by our faith. Having faith in him, not losing faith in him. That's one way to get God to trust you. Another way that you can get God to trust you is making him the center of your life. When you put yourself in the center of your life, and when you put yourself in the center of other relationships that God brought into your life, then he can no longer trust you, because you're making it about you. But when we allow God to be the center in our life, the center in our relationship, then that's creating an atmosphere where we can earn the trust of God. It's one thing to say, I trust God, but we always have to ask ourselves, assess yourself in every situation, in every perspective. Can God trust me? And oftentimes we don't get certain blessings, and we're wondering why we don't get this person. Why haven't God given me that wealth that somebody been telling me about? That, oh, I see wealth on you. You're going to be rich. Why God hasn't given me that? Why hasn't God given me the love of my life, my soulmate? Why hasn't God given me that career or that job? Maybe he can't trust you. Maybe you have a little bit of money right now and you're not even storing it well. So he doesn't trust you with giving you a large portion of money. So one way to earn God's trust is to steward how you steward what he gives you, how you take care of what he gives you, how he nurture what he gives you, is another way to earn the trust of God. So as you go throughout your day, as you go throughout building a relationship with God, as you go throughout strengthening your relationship with God, I encourage you to view it as you would an intimate relationship here on earth. You want to trust the person, and you also want the person to trust you, and that's what makes a relationship successful. That's what makes the communication in a relationship effective. Also, that's another way to earn the trust of God: communication. Are you praying to him? Are you constantly talking to him? Or are you just going to him when life is rough and you need something from him? Or, because imagine if you're dating somebody and you only go to them, or you only talk to, or if you have a friendship and you only go to them when things are wrong, they're going to feel used. They're going to feel like, hey, I can't trust you because you only come to me when you're good, when you're not good. So when you're good, I don't even see you. So, that consistent communication is another way that you build trust with God. So I ask that question not to undermine anybody's relationship with God, but just to get you to reflect on your relationship with God. Yes, you trust God, but can God trust you? Because if God cannot trust you, then that's blocking a lot of your blessing, a lot of your promotion, a lot of your progress. That's even blocking healing. Because how can he trust that if I heal you, you're not going to take the credit for yourself? So my encouragement for you today is to assess your relationship with God. Can God trust you? We know you trust him because he shows up for you all the time, and his character remains the same. He's faithful. He gives you mercy. His grace is sufficient. He's there for you. He's a friend that's to get closer than a brother. Like, all of those things is what makes us trust God. But what are the aspects in your life that makes God trust you? Or what are some of the aspects and characteristics and personality trait that you need to work on to earn the trust of God?